guys, back for another quick message of power, motivation, divinity, whatever you want to call it. So one thing that I've noticed is that sometimes, like right when you start to feel good, right when you feel like, okay, I did what I said I was going to do, I accomplished some stuff this weekend or this day or whatever, and then all of a sudden things start to populate in your mind like, oh, well, what about this? It's like things that might try to stress you out, try to take you off your path. What I'm realizing and knowing though is not all of these energies are you. There might be curses around you that you don't even know. There might be beings that are trying to send weirdo stuff, weirdo energy to you. Because what I noticed is that, like, for example, if I'm feeling good, right, then a trigger might come into my mind, or like a thought of a certain person that did me wrong. And then it's like, okay, if that doesn't work, then it's like, okay, well, what about this and what about that? And it's almost like, because I know for a fact, I know that there are people that do this. So I can easily see it in people, but it took a while to realize that either my mind or energies around me are also trying to do that, also trying to throw me off with any thought that could possibly be an opening. Because as soon as you have an offense, as soon as you have a lower frequency thought, you let the enemy into your experience. You let that negativity in. So what I'm doing now is whenever those weirdo thoughts come in of like lack or desperation or fear or anger or anything like that, I am distracting myself from it. And I'm reminding myself that's not how I feel. Because if it was how I felt, I'd be feeling it now. I'd be thinking those things. But I'm realizing that there are energies around us that as soon as they can sense, okay, I might be able to get her, I might be able to get him, they try it. They try it. There are people that do the same thing. You know some people that when they see that something, a specific thing that used to bother you doesn't trigger you anymore, all of a sudden they want to bring up something else. Well, and they go to every single pain point of yours just to get a reaction. Energies do the same thing. And so you have to be able to rise above that and heal past that. That's why it's important to continuously evolve and move on, because at the end of the day, the beginning of the day, and everything in between, there are other forces at play here. Even though this is the divine's world, this is God's world, we all know that there are other energies out here too. And you know, the divine has a master plan, but we also have free will. We have the right to decide, am I going to engage with this thought? Am I going to engage with this energy? Or even if it's an invisible energy to me, am I going to entertain this? Or am I going to keep going with my day? Because instead of like dwelling in this nonsense, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go do something. I'm going to have fun. I called somebody up and we went out to go get something to eat. And it was just like that. Instead of sitting there and sulking in that memory of something that I don't even care about anymore, I moved on. Because once you get into one negative thought pattern and you entertain that, another one comes and another one comes, another one comes. And before you know it, you are overflown, you are flooded with just negative thought forms from all over the place, when you could really just be moving on. You could really just be like, you know what? I'm not feeling that energy. I don't want to interact with that, and distract yourself and do something else. And it's not like, oh, I'm avoiding anything, because sometimes you really be over it and you just don't want to engage in that, because as soon as you open the door for that toxicness, that negativity, that thing to hook on to you, it's not going to let go. And it's going to remind you of all these other things, all these other ideas, all these other things that could be going wrong, all these other things that you're no longer even concerned about are going to suddenly start to be a problem in your mind. So it's best to, as soon as you see or sense that you are under a spiritual attack, that you cleanse yourself. You go outside, you meditate, you breathe, you listen to some music that feels good, not just any kind of music, but music that feels good. One thing that I also notice is, like, I can tell when I'm under a spiritual attack when I get a wave of heat. It feels like a wave of, it feels like a wave, and then all of a sudden my heart starts beating and I start getting anxious. So I start just like And it feels like I'm drowning in an energy. And so that's the way I know like someone is trying to spiritually assault me. But what I also know is that I am bigger than that. And I know that I can meditate through it. Sometimes I'll breathe. If that doesn't work, I'll put my music in. If that doesn't work, I'll call my mom. If that doesn't work, like I have tools in my toolbox for when someone tries to spiritually attack me. And I also noticed that those attacks can be so slight as just like trying to send energy your way, or just making sure that there's always a surplus of curses around you. So it's important to cleanse your space with your mind as well. Like you can sage, you can do all of those other things, but also cleanse your mental space, cleanse the space around you. Pray and command protection in your life. Command that your mind is cleansed. Command that those people that you love are also protected, divinely respected, and heavenly guarded. Don't just pray for yourself, because if the enemy, the opposition can't get you, then they'll try to attack the person you love indirectly. So you have to be very, very particular about the things that you ask for in this life and in this realm, so that you can make sure that you are protected and all of the ones that you really, really care about and love are protected too. See you next time.